Welcome back guys. LSFG is a universal frame generator built using machine learning to run on any GPU, whether it's from Intel, Nvidia or AMD, it does not matter. LSFG is included with an application called Lossless Scaling that sells on Steam Store for around $7. LSFG just received a major update in the form of version 2.1. Now the previous version of LSFG used to double our FPS. This new version will try to triple our FPS. Yes, you heard it right. This is achieved using X3 frame generation mode that generates 2 intermediate frames. This is the update log. X3 mode has increased GPU load by approximately 1.7 times compared to X2 mode. At the same time, LSFG 2.1 performance and LSFG 1.1 have been optimized to be 20% faster in X2 mode compared to the previous version. Here's the interesting part. It has been tested that X3 mode does not cause any additional latency compared to X2 mode. Now all of the frame generation techniques come with some input delay. This delay is not a problem when the base FPS is on the higher side. The minimum recommended FPS for using any frame generation technique is usually 60. However, you can still use these techniques at a lower FPS, expect to see more graphical artifacts and higher input delay. Back to the update log. Latency is affected by the base frame rate, and when the GPU is fully utilized, for the best experience in both image smoothness and latency, it is recommended to lock the game's frame rate at 1/3 of the monitor's refresh rate in X3 mode. I'll be testing this application on my Rog Ally. Its display supports up to 120Hz refresh rate, so I'll be capping the in-game FPS to 40 using RTSS. LSFG will try to triple the FPS, increase it from 40 to 120. The minimum recommended base frame rate for X3 mode remains the same as for X2 mode, that is at 30 FPS for Full HD resolution and 40 FPS for 1440p resolution. Rog Ally is actually able to achieve 40 FPS in many AAA games running at 720p resolution. New behavior: when the final frame rate should exceed the monitor's refresh rate. Previously, lossless scaling rendered all necessary frames, some of which were later discarded when displayed on the monitor. Lossless scaling will now skip rendering extra frames while accounting for correct frame pacing, prevent the hedging. So the result should be very similar to the old behavior but much more resource efficient. While a higher base frame rate is better for latency purposes, forcing lossless scaling to skip frames may not result in the best smoothness. Given that the lossless scaling frame rate will never exceed the refresh rate now, for convenience and also for identifying issues, the draw FPS option also outputs captured frames when using DXGI capture, so the latency should decrease without the 40 FPS cap, but it may not translate to a smoother gameplay experience. I'll be testing many games on my Rog Ally with lossless scaling application. I have the Z1 Extreme variant of Ally using a 25 watts manual profile, all 3 power values set at 25 watts, 720p resolution, CPU boost disabled. First, I'll be running Hogwarts Legacy, UMA buffer size set to auto. My Ally is running on BIOS version 338. I have installed AMD's technical preview GPU driver, Adrenaline Edition version 24.5.1. Before launching Hogwarts, I'll just show you the settings for lossless scaling. The application also includes some upscaling algorithms, won't be using any of them. Just select LSFG 2.1 from this drop down bar under frame generation. Previous version is 1.1. Then we have the mode. Click on the drop down bar. X3 mode tries to double the FPS, X3 mode tries to triple the FPS. X3 mode selected. Not enable the performance mode. Faster version of LSFG, which is better suited for less powerful GPUs but has slightly worse quality. Clip cursor setting enabled. Draw FPS setting enabled. Capture API, DXGI. Click on settings here. This is the hotkey for enabling LSFG. Control Alt and S. Start as administrator setting enabled. Let lossless scaling run in the background. Started Hogwarts Legacy. Connected my Cosmic White Stellaris gamepad to Ally via 2.4 GHz band wireless mode. I've capped the game's FPS to 40 using RTSS. This game received a major update just yesterday. The game now supports DLSS version 3.7 and XeSS version 1.3. Still does not support FSR3. Very disappointing. I'm using the low preset. Display mode set to windowed full screen. 720p resolution. Upscaler set to XeSS. Intel's upscaler using its quality preset. VSync disabled from here. Motion blur and frame gain disabled as well. Adrenaline settings, FreeSync enabled from here. VSync disabled, anti-lag setting enabled. That's it. I'm standing at the entrance of Hogsmeade. There's a character. Here we are getting around 40 FPS. Check out the input response. not using LSFG. Moving around, FPS is staying around 40. GPU load is around 70%. Let's enable LSFG now. Press its hotkey. There you go. FPS will not go over 120. Yeah, I can observe the added amount of smoothness. Oh, this is amazing. Observing some minor graphical artifacts around the character model when I move the camera in complete circles like this. Not seeing these graphical artifacts when I move the camera at normal speeds. FPS got tripled. This is just insane. Try to show you some combat. Explore the area on foot. Sprint. Use the spell. Okay, I'm observing some garbled textures on the bottom edge of the display when sprinting. Overall performance is really very good. I'll leave this place.
Sometimes it seems all roads lead to Hogsmeade.
Equip my broom to fly around. First I need to leave the no flying zone. Input delay is not a big issue. It's not a first person shooter. Yeah, I think now I can equip my broom. There you go. Fly around. Stunning visuals. There's the castle in the background. Looking for the bad guys. Very smooth experience here. Land here. Really impressed by the performance gains. Getting good performance even during combat. I just remove the 40 FPS cap. Open RTSS. Set frame rate limit to nil. Back to the game. Base FPS increased to around 45. Still getting good performance. Almost hitting the GPU bottleneck. Sprint around. Observing less graphical artifacts now. Our hat is still flickering and moving the camera in complete circle. I'll be testing the next game, Horizon Forbidden West. I have capped the FPS to 40. Settings. 720p resolution, display mode set to full screen, XeSS upscaler, quality preset, in-game racing disabled, using the low preset, motion blur stealth set to nil. Even for this game I have set the UMF buffer size to auto. Adrenaline settings, FreeSync enabled, VSync disabled, anti-lag setting enabled. There's Ally. Here we are getting around 40 FPS. This is the game running without LSFG. Just head to the quarry side. We are not hitting the GPU bottleneck. GPU load is around 80%. FPS is staying around 40. Now I'll enable LSFG. FPS should get tripled. Yeah, I can observe the added amount of smoothness. Also observing some graphical artifacts. ALS head is flickering. LSFG definitely improves the performance in this game. Show you some combat.
Looks like some sort of quarry.
Yeah, base FPS dropped down to around 30, and that's why we are seeing these graphical artifacts. Higher the FPS, less the graphical artifacts. 26 FPS. So I'll just try to use the performance mode of LSFG. App is running in the background. Performance mode enabled. Base FPS increase up to 35. Yeah, less graphical artifacts still present. Oh no. So noticeable graphical artifacts in this game. Clicked the wrong arrow, my bad. Oh, that was close. Trying to shoot the green canister. Do some elemental damage. Just remove the 40 FPS cap. Let's hope it helps in reducing the graphical artifacts. Still present. I'll be testing the next game. For the remaining games, I'll be using 6 GB of UMA buffer size setting. Now I'll be running Cyberpunk 2077, 40 FPS cap applied. Graphics setting, I'm using the low preset, FSR 2.1 upscaler, using its quality preset. Quickly scroll down. Motion blur disabled. Low to medium settings. Display mode set to windowed borderless 720p resolution. In-game VSync disabled. Adrenaline settings. FreeSync enabled, VSync disabled, anti-lag setting enabled. VRN. I'm standing right outside V's apartment building. Here FPS is around 40. Stable. GPU load is around 70%. Check out the input response. Now I'll enable LSFG. It's working now. Back to the game. Yeah, the camera is floating. I can observe the added amount of smoothness. Game's HUD elements are not flickering. Excellent results in Cyberpunk. Not observing any graphical artifacts. Moving around. Engage in combat. Still not hitting the GPU bottleneck. 93% GPU load. Steal the vehicle. Switch my camera. No graphical artifacts around the bumper area of the car. These artifacts occur when we use FSR frame generation. LSFG results will vary from game to game. Some games exhibit more graphical artifacts than the others. The animation looks so smooth. Again, input delay is not a big deal. No problem here. I'll be testing the next game. Oh my god. My car got wrecked. I am running no rest for the wicked. On Ally, in this game FPS stays within a range of 30 to 40. Adrenaline settings, FreeSync enabled, VSync disabled, anti-lag setting enabled. Display mode set to full screen window, 720p resolution, in-game VSync disabled. Quality preset, performance, FSI enabled using its quality preset, motion blur disabled, dynamic resolution scaling disabled. There is a character serum. I am on the Isle of Sagram. Skip the prologue. Here we are getting a stable 40 FPS, GPU load is around 70%. Cannot move the camera using the right stick. It's a Souls-like action RPG game, played from a top-down view. LSFG enabled. I can observe the added amount of smoothness. The sprinting animation has become smoother. I tested this game day one of its release. It suffered from micro stuttering. It has received many updates since its launch. Performance has been improved. Need to be careful, out of stamina. Not observing any graphical artifacts. Good results in this game using LSFG. This guy has a shield. Charge attack. Exploring the area. Serum Whisper, akin to Bonfire and Souls games. Won't activate it. Batman Arkham Knight. This game does not support any upscaler, so I'll be using Ally's RSI upscaler to upscale the resolution from 720p to Full HD. 40 FPS cap has been applied. Adrenaline settings, FreeSync enable, VSync disable, anti-lag setting enable, RSI enable. Display mode set to windowed, no border, 720p resolution. In-game VSync disable, normal settings, motion blur disable. There's Batman walking on the streets. I'll call in the Batmobile, there it is. We are getting a stable 40 FPS. GPU load is around 70%. FPS is not dropping even when I'm driving the Batmobile around. Perfect for enabling LSFG. Thugs here. Got enabled. Wow, the game is running so smoothly. Amazing performance gains in Arkham Knight. This is just insane. I'm observing some carbon textures around the bottom edge of the display. Not easy to observe. Just exit the vehicle now. Stunning visuals. Okay, Batman's pointy ears are flickering when I move the camera around. Some minor graphical artifacts in this game. I'll just remove the 40 FPS cap. Base FPS should increase now. I'm getting around 70 FPS. Check out Batman's character model. The pointy ears are still flickering. The streets are empty. Thugs. Oh, that was close. I pressed the Y key at the last moment. That saved me. And they are running away. I'll just switch to the previous version of LSFG 1.1. Let's see the results. Yeah, the pointy ears are not flickering now. Oh my god. And this guy just spared me. good performance gains. Ears are not flickering. Now I'll be testing the next game. Now I'll be running a very demanding title, Dragon's Dogma Part 2. Not expecting good performance in this game with LSFG. On Rog Ally, FPS often drops below 30 in Dragon's Dogma 2 in crowded area where there are a lot of non-playable characters. They are very demanding on the CPU. Adrenaline settings for the game. FreeSync enable, VSync disable, anti-lag setting enable. Display mode set to borderless window, 720p resolution, in-game VSync disable. FSR 3 upscaler enable using its performance preset. Most of the effects have been disabled. Quickly scroll down. Motion blur disabled. Shadow cast setting enable, helps in improving the performance. Texture quality set to low, 0 GB. That's it. I am at Vermont Outpost. Many non-playable characters here. FPS is close to 30, almost hitting the GPU bottleneck. This game is very demanding on both CPU and GPU. 28 FPS. Sprinting around. Gameplay is a bit sluggish. Just enable LSFG now. It's working. Yeah, I can observe the added amount of smoothness. However, there are a lot of graphical artifacts. Character model is flickering. Not just his head, but his entire body. Just leave this place. I tried using different versions of LSFG. All of them exhibited graphical bugs in this game. I really can't I really can't blame the application, as the base FPS here is on the lower side. You can see 25. Just quickly change the version of LSFG. First I'll just enable its performance mode. It's not going to help. See, the character model is still flickering. Base FPS increased up to around 30 using LSFG 1.1. The character model is still flickering. I'll be testing the next game. Witcher 3 Wild Hunt next generation version. Applied the 40 FPS cap. Adrenaline settings, FreeSync enable, VSync disable, ADN anti-lag setting enable. That's it. Using the medium preset. FSR 2 upscaler enable using its quality preset. Motion blur disable. Display mode, borderless window, 720p resolution, VSync disable. My current location, offense of Quick Pop. There is Carrot. FPS is around 40. GPU load is around 70%. Exploring the area. Looking for some creatures. Just enable LSFG now. Wow, the game is running so smoothly. Unfortunately, Geralt's character model is flickering. I'm also observing some garbled textures around the left edge of the display. Amazed by the performance gains. GPU load increased up to 80%. Is the creature. Switch to evening. I just removed the FPS cap. Frame rate limit set to nil. Resume the game. Yeah, this reduced the graphical artifacts. This thing jumped on me. Game is still running very smoothly. Base FPS is around 46. So excellent results in Witcher 3. Go to a different area. Standing at the entrance of Novigrad, there is Rog.
That's it, Roach.
Explore the area. Yeah, observing some garbled textures around the bottom edge of the display. Minor graphical artifacts are present in this game. Many non-playable characters here. Very smooth experience. Almost hitting the GPU bottleneck. Input delay is not an issue. Almost ran over that guy. I'll be testing the next game. Now I'll be running the Rockstar Launcher version of Red Dead Redemption 2. 40 FPS cap applied. Enter in settings for the game. Facing enable, VSync disable, anti-lag setting enable. Graphics setting, screen type set to windowed borderless, 720p resolution, VSync disabled. Texture quality set to ultra, rest of the settings are set to medium. FSR to upscaler enabled using its quality preset. There's Arthur, FPS is around 40, GPU load is around 70%. Check out the input response. Camera movement feels so heavy, sluggish. Stunning visuals. It's definitely one of the most visually stunning games, even in 2024. Okay, I'll just enable LSFG now. It's working. Steam is not running in the background, not a requirement. Your camera animation feels smoother now. Interface is not flickering. Some minor graphical artifacts around characters, around Arthur's character model. Good performance gains in this game. Let's start a mission, go for a ride. Need to interact with Uncle. He is nearby. Textures become a bit fuzzy when I move the camera around quickly, like this. I am controlling the wagon. I'll just remove the 40 FPS cap. I hope it helps in reducing the graphical artifacts. FPS cap set to nil. Back to the game. We gained about 2 to 3 FPS. Didn't help much in reducing the graphical artifacts. I'll just use the performance mode of LSFG. Back to the game. FPS increased up to 55. It helped in reducing the graphical artifacts. So use this mode on Rog Ally. Game is still running very smoothly. Way better than the real 50 FPS. Now I'll be testing the next game. Alan Wake Part 2, Epic Games version. This game is very demanding. FPS on Rog Ally stays within a range of 25 to 40. Adrenaline settings, VSync enable, VSync disable, anti-lag setting enable. Display mode set to borderless, FSR to upscaler using its quality preset. Motion blur and film grain settings disabled. Low to medium settings. Ray tracing disabled. There's Alan. I am in the safe room. Here FPS is around 40. FPS will drop when I leave this place, go out in the open. GPU load is around 90%. And just enable LSFG. Yeah, I can observe the added amount of smoothness. Looking for some graphical artifacts. I think Alan's revolver is flickering. Poor visibility. Does not flicker when I move the camera at a normal speed like this. Flickers when I move the camera in complete circles. Base FPS is around 30. Go outside. I'll equip my flare gun. Shadows will attack me. Eat that. And they attack me. Good results in Alan Wake. Oh my god. Use the flare. whatever it's called, placed it inside the mouth of the shadow. Oh no, I had to reload. You can even use the performance mode. Enable performance mode, return to the game. Yeah, base FPS increase now, getting around 30 FPS. Oh no, low on HP, not going to survive. Quickly heal myself. Hand flare. Yeah, game is running very smoothly. This is definitely better than the real 30 FPS. You can definitely use LSFG in Alan Wake Part 2. Time to conclude the video. LSFG improved the performance in all of the games that I tested on Rog Ally. Tried to triple the FPS from 40 to 120. However, in a few games there were some graphical artifacts. We can reduce the graphical artifacts by increasing the game's base frame rate. At least 60 is preferable. Enabling the performance mode of LSFG will help in increasing the base frame rate. However, Rog Ally is just not powerful enough to achieve 60 FPS in some newly launched AAA games, so there is not much you can do about the graphical artifacts, at least for the time being. Hopefully these graphical artifacts at lower frame rates will get fixed with the future updates of LSFG. Input delay was not an issue even when the base frame rate was around 40. That's it with the video guys. I hope you find it useful. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.